my friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are revisiting the Seaside Getaway bundle set, this time building a coastal beach town with a boardwalk in the Dazzle beach. I wanted to initially make a build to formally house the new Mark Twain riverboat, however the focus ended up being more on the actual Seaside Getaway building kit, which was too good to use only once. I have another video where I use it in my beach floating island, so if you're interested in that then definitely check that out later on. However, it is time that I stop procrastinating in decorating my main valley and especially my Dazzle beach. So if you are interested in seeing how this build is made, then keep on watching. I've already got the riverboat just chilling down there, and where this grassy patch is, I'm going to put the main attraction. Before plopping down some seaside buildings, I'm going to frame them first with some large maple trees, and I use both the simple maple and the tall maple for the duo green tones. I also put some dune palm trees down before starting with the actual seaside house skin, making sure to leave some space in the back to access the rock nodes and the cave. On either side, I will put the corner pieces first, and then I will stack some of the small buildings to create one big structure. I also add some more of those dune palm trees on either side just to keep the sides symmetrical. Now, just as a brief intermission before continuing on with the build, we do have to make a touch of magic rug. So all we have to do is use the existing wooden texture that is on the screen and just change the colors and glossy level to your own taste. It was really tricky coming up with the layout for these buildings since they are bulky and the beach is pretty much the most narrow biome I have ever seen, so I settled with using some smaller pieces and lining the rock area. And with those, we will accompany them with some more trees that we have been using before. I start to slowly put down more foliage as I go, so you will see me gradually build it up. When using certain trees, I try to use all of the different sizes that it includes so that it doesn't look too structured or repetitive, so definitely check out both the tall and shorter versions of the palm trees. Now, this part was tricky, but just follow the layout I do with the boardwalk. Getting it to fit all together and combating the footprint next to the water was a pain, but just lay out the rugs this way and you shouldn't have any problems. I will say I shift around the rugs by the Peaceful Meadow staircase later on, but the placement is consistent for the rest of the beach. For the pathing, I used 3 kinds in this build total, so I've been lately doing this pattern with the bordered brick road and the bordered natural rock path, both craftable and found in the early base game. I love how they look together, and I make some stripes for the front of the houses, and I repeat that pattern going down the sides, which will also frame the Moroccan pavilion fountain. The third pathing I use is this worn brick road with the border, and this is a star path item with the Lady and the Tramp star path. I only use it a little bit just to further enclose that square that we made. I'm going to now use some cypress trees and bushes in the corners, and I use some tiny palm trees as well. Just keep in mind this is called a bent palm tree and it actually has 3 different sizes, so you would have to keep cycling through the tree to get the desired size that you want. I go for the tiniest size for the middle square, but there is also a medium and larger size which will be used later on. I'm going to actually move the house up as well since I felt it was too far back, and this way it looks a bit more structured and I can bring up those back palm trees as well. And again, I cycle through the bent palm trees to find this very large and curvy one which will go on either end. Around the boardwalk rugs, I partially surround it with this elegant white fence, and this is a new fence with the Lady and the Tramp update which you can craft. And I'm not going to enclose the rugs fully with it. Due to the footprint colliding with the water, I thought it would be nicer anyway to just have occasional openings to get access to the water. So really I just make sections with the fence, some longer than others. I also leave a small space between the rugs and the fence to fit in some lights later on. Back where the entrance is, I realized that the boardwalk was too close to the stairs, so I pushed it back all the way to where the water is. But in this area there is no space between the fence and the rug, they are just touching because of the limited space. I'm just cleaning up the main area now, adding some more trees and adding more detail to the layout. Added some pops of color with the hibiscus arches and some more of the fences with some extra bushes as well. I started introducing some of those Mythopia flower bushes and it really adds a little extra color. Then I'll just tweak some trees, add some more cypress trees to line the outside fences, but only in this area. peaceful meadow staircase, I'm doing that same pathing pattern as before, and I also dropped Goofy stall right by that rock node in the right. I'm just adding minimal decorations by this point, so I'm going to use the two-headed tiki torches to line the fences in the entire build, starting in this section and spacing them out generously. Then honestly, you just add items that you would see in any kind of beach, so I chose decorations like surfboards, food stalls and carts, balloons, and on the other end there is tables and chairs because across from that I will be adding a confectionery. Any little areas that I see, I just fill it in with whatever foliage I've been using, and I line the wall area with some more palm trees of varying sizes and the smallest maple trees where we will have two large buildings in front of them. The first one on the right side is the confectionery, which, as big as it is, I try to fit it so that it barely touches the boardwalk, and to the side of that I use the shaded island wood tables and chairs for some beachside seating. On the other side, I add the Hawaiian home with some more beach decorations. I pair this one with the seaside building, and right next to that I actually have this vintage seafoam camper house, and I threw that in there for the vibes. Now this part was kind of random, but I am putting Ariel's house here for the time being until I can make a build dedicated for it. So for now, I use some large rocks to surround it and some smaller ones to create a path, and then just using a bunch of these pink water lilies found in the underbrush tab, I go ham surrounding the castle. Moving along, you're going to see me drop a bunch of garden stones from the Oasis Retreat star path, and it might look random here, but that's because you haven't seen the items I'm going to use in those blank spaces. But this part is random anyways, so it's just to add more texture to the sand. Where this corner is, I use it as an excuse to sneak in some more lounging spots in the beach. Since the current layout takes up the entire space, I wanted to make sure there were some designated spots for relaxation. Of course, using more palm trees and maple trees, I'm taking it area by area to fill it in with some greenery. By this dock over here, we are actually making a beachside bar. My favorite thing to do is use these waterfalls as a bar backdrop and using the rock show star path fountains behind that as well for some additional detail. Then I'll combine this food stall counter with some normal L-shaped counters to create the actual bar. Just to make it more party-like, I'm going to use these luminous dance flooring, and I will of course use some drink cabinets to fill in the bar. I'll carefully layer the back with some more trees, and by the way, the footprint in this area by the water is absolutely horrible, but we're gonna make it work. By the bar, it's another relaxation spot. I just put a pretzel stand with some picnic tables and some beach towels. Once again, lining the fences with those two-headed tiki torches, I use a few decorations to fill in that gap left by those seaside buildings. I added some bicycles, beach chairs, and this hanging wicker swing from the Oasis Retreat star path. will just be adding some more details now to this main area, pretty much lining the fence with some minor decorative pieces. By the Forest of Valor, I do use the Seaside Lighthouse piece, and I just surround it with some garden stones and lounge chairs. Nothing too fancy, yet it just keeps the entrances to the forest and meadow accessible. Back at the center, I tidy it up with some more floral bushes from Mythopia, and I add some torches and shaded tables. The last thing I'll do to tie in the vibe of the build, I will use the Skull Rock Island as a Ferris wheel spot and a teleport well spot. I actually use more water lilies to curve around the coast and create a path leading up to the island. This area is simple, you just use the garden stones and some more palm trees and maple trees of different sizes, and once you've done that, then you will be done. hope you enjoyed watching the speed build and the walkthrough. I definitely enjoyed creating this build, and it's so nice to finally have my beach decorated. I am slowly but surely working on completing my main valley, and these seaside items are getting their bang for their buck. I hope this gives you the inspiration you need to decorate your Dazzle beach. If you liked the video, be sure to like and to subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!